Hi everyone, welcome back to This Perfect Mess. My name is Shiro Jugona.
And I'm Dennis.
And we're back with another video. And yeah, thank you so much for everyone that has been watching our videos and commenting, and for the followers on Insta. And be sure to check me out on Instagram at Shiro Jugona.
So yeah, please do that. And today we will be covering, well, somewhat unpleasant subject, I guess, of breakups. Most of us probably have gone through one of those. Hopefully, you know, not more than one, but yeah, it's one of those subjects that you hope that you never have to touch. But today we'll just share our experience, you know, something that worked for us, and hopefully you don't have to watch this video when this actually happens. But if you do, you know, hopefully it will help you, you know, a little bit to deal with that difficult situation.
Yeah, or if you're going through a breakup right now also. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you want to start off?
Yeah, for me, definitely talking to someone helped. Not just talking to someone kind of like by cornering them and then just like trying to pour it out. Make sure that the person actually can listen, because this is important. If it's just someone waiting for their turn to speak, you know, like when you talk to someone, you tell them then like, yeah, and by the way, I did this and this today, like totally unrelated, you know, that's definitely not a good listener. For me, it's kind of like weird. I literally confessed to this like old guy at work that probably had a lot of time, and we literally talked for like hours and hours, you know, and he was listening to me, he was giving me advice, kind of like from his own perspective, you know, and that really helped. Just like someone listening and kind of like, again, just kind of like commiserating and being with you is amazing. It helps a lot.
Yeah, I do agree with you, babes. I also talked to someone. For me, it was mostly my friends. I'd say actually most of my friends, they were there for me. They would call me randomly just to check in, and they would listen, and I would vent and say what was bothering me. And I'd say also I went to therapy, because I think for therapists, their work, my point was that one, but it's closely related to talking to someone. For therapists, they don't tell you what to do. They sit there and listen and listen. I had, of course, a lot of other baggage that I needed to go and unpack at therapy, but what pushed me to the limit was now the breakup, and I went for therapy, and it was awesome. Like every single one of those, after the therapy session, I would be so overwhelmed that actually the first therapy session, I forgot the stage. You know what stage is that? Like you board a mat, and then you're supposed to, a bus, and you're supposed to arrive at point A. I arrived at point B. It was that intense.
Sure, yeah.
But so you talk and talk and talk, and before you know it, you're just like,
yeah, definitely. Now, for people in US especially, where therapy can cost a lot of money, keep in mind that you can take therapy online. You know, it probably will cost you as well, but you know, you don't have to break the buck to find a therapist. Now, on the cheap scale, literally what the therapist does, like what Shira said, you just literally, they just sit and listen. So if you have a friend, in my case, I literally had this, you know, guy at work that was able to listen to me, but that part of listening, you know, is very important, so that, you know, I don't know how it works, but it does.
Yeah, it does work.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Kind of similar to someone listening is also writing it down. At first, when I was going through this, one guy at work also suggested writing it down. I was like, what? Why would I want to write it down? But seriously, but it works. I don't know again how it works, but it does. In my case, this is how I created my blog post, you know. I have a blog post on the breakup and my previous bad relationship that I had. It really saved me. And for me, I started typing into my computer. I had my laptop with me, and I started typing in Notepad and Windows. And you know, long story short, I literally had most of it like written down, and I don't know how. Maybe it's like one form of having this kind of silent listener. You kind of like type it into your computer or your phone. It works. So guys, again, just try it and just write it down, and it will make wonders, really.
Yeah, for me, I think with the previous ones, I have been I'd say writing has always been my outlet, but the funny thing, when my last breakup happened, I couldn't get myself to write. I think you know the story.
Hard, yeah.
I couldn't get myself to write, but yeah, I do know that when you're stressed out and you have things going, writing is a very good channel.
Yeah, absolutely. For me also, well, we kind of like run once in a while, you know, but for me was definitely it was very helpful to go for a run.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess it's endorphins that get released, and not just in case of a breakup, also if I had some difficult situation or when I had to like think about something, like for instance I'm a software developer, if I have a project or something that I can't tackle during the day, you know, I can't like fix it, usually going for a run definitely helps.
It does really help, and working out.
Yeah, working out, similar. Now in my case I'm more into running, but definitely working out, some intense exercise really helps.
Yeah, but you also have to be careful not to go to the extreme. For me, when I broke up, I started going hard for it. I started doing extreme. And my reasoning was, I used to, sometimes I'd go to bed and I couldn't sleep. And my reasoning was, if I overwork out, I'm going to be so tired at the end of the day and I'll just collapse. I'd say if you find yourself going to that extreme, better go back to point number one and talk to someone instead of killing yourself, because it's also harmful for
you don't want to like have some physical damage to your body. Also, kind of obvious thing, find something interesting to do to distract yourself. We can't really give you like specific advice because it's like different for everyone, you know. For me, like was interesting, for instance, to watch YouTube, you know, stuff that was interesting for me. It would probably put her to sleep right away, but just find whatever, you know, you find interesting. And maybe reading a book, watching a movie, something that can kind of like distract you from this cloud, you know, that covers over you.
Yeah. For me, the point that was so closely related to your point was starting something new. And one of my friends, actually, she's an older lady, and she told me, you know, just start something new. And that's how actually I started this YouTube channel. I had never made any video before, and I remember like going to work and thinking, you know what, if I sit like this, I am overthinking and thinking, and I pulled out my phone. That time I didn't know anything, how to edit. I didn't know. I was making appointments with my friend to teach me how to edit, but that day I pulled out my phone and recorded just a small video. And that's how I started YouTube. I started recording videos, talking about stuff, and that's how you learn. And some people, they choose to start, like, get a pet,
anything, a
plant, just grow anything, grow something, a blog, just something, just grow something new.
Something interesting. Now, having mentioned this, I also have to kind of like point a few things that you should not be doing. Definitely for me, watching some kind of drama movie, the one especially involving relationships, both happy and unhappy relationships. Seriously, because you don't want to look, you don't want to like, you know, watch the movie of some happy chick, you know, or some happy couple, and then you'd be like, oh no, you know, it could have been me. So yeah, definitely something neutral. For me, movie-wise, that movie, The Martian, you know, was very inspiring. It's about the guy that got like stranded on Mars and the way how he like got out of this kind of like almost impossible predicament. It really inspired me. It had no like dating, it had no like, you know, drama.
No single sexual scene.
None of that stuff. So it was very kind of like inspiring. But you have to, don't go with my movie, obviously. Pick whatever like, you know, lifts your spirits up. And so that kind of like, again, not every movie would be perfect, you know. So what about you? Do you have any?
Do not check their social media.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do not.
Better just block them.
Do not. Yeah, I know people say, oh, I remember someone was telling me, keep their number so that they can see you're still continuing with your life.
Oh no.
Let me tell you something. You do not have anything to prove to anyone. You owe it to yourself to heal and move on. I'm sorry guys, there's a siren. I think there is an ambulance. I hope you can't hear it. But what I'm saying is you owe it to you to heal and move on. You don't need to prove to anyone that, hey, now you left me, now look, I'm living this life. I would advise you to delete their numbers, block them on their social media, block their aunts, block everybody that can remind you of them. Because every time, because I remember that one time that I tried to check, I got so heartbroken because I remember like the guy had taken pictures with some ladies and I was thinking, oh my God, he moved on fast.
He doesn't care about me.
He doesn't care. And you know, there's this period after breakup that you think you want them back and stuff and stuff. So you get hurt for no reason. And also you just don't want to see them. And so many scandals actually come from you trying to keep tabs with. For me, I just learned. I just say it.
Yeah.
I am not diplomatic with exes. That's
it's hard, you know, to actually, you know, block them to do. I mean, okay, it's easy to block, but so many people, like in my case, it's easy to unblock. Definitely do not try to message them. Do not try to, like, you know, like, oh, maybe I can revive it. If it just went south and you know that the guy or the woman, you know, treated you badly, just move on. I know it's hard to do, but blocking and kind of like just keeping it that way. Just delete the number and just remove it from your contacts. It's hard like at first, but then you will actually thank yourself for doing it later.
Yeah.
Also, in the same kind of vein, don't check your pictures together. You probably have a phone and it's loaded with the person. Delete them or remove them, just put them somewhere that you can't like run into them.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, don't do those kind of mistakes. That will definitely backfire if you try to, you know, look at your moments together.
Yeah.
That will not help.
Yeah, because you'll be thinking, oh, we had such a good time. I'll never have this with someone else. You'll actually have way better memories to make with someone else. So.
In my case, definitely throwing out or giving away things that you had together. Like for instance, not just had together, but for instance, if you wore like certain like certain like shirt or pants, or she gave it to you or he gave it to you. Yeah, just give it away. Don't throw it out, but give it to charity. You know, like in US, you can give it to Goodwill, Salvation Army, or just give it someone. You know?
Yeah, just something that reminds you of them. Just try to get rid of as much baggage as you can. You don't need it.
Yeah, because it will like remind you, like in a more difficult or challenging situation, like in my case, I had to move out from my apartment as well, because, you know, like certain things will remind you of her or of him, you know. For me, yeah, definitely like changing the place, like getting to a new apartment, because otherwise you come home and like everything might remind you of her, you know. And even if you didn't live together, you know, sometimes even if you did like WhatsApp, you know, it's just like, it's hard to explain right now because obviously we're not in this situation, but if you are going through this, just one little reminder, like a little smell or something, it triggers the memory, and it's just like, brings you back into this same horrible situation.
I hear you.
So it's not just apartment too, like for instance, if you went to certain places, you know, like you used to hang out, go get coffee, just don't go there, you know, if you can. Hopefully you didn't date someone at work, because that would be like triple difficult to overcome, especially when you have to run into them. Yeah,
for me it was hard because it was someone. I didn't date them at work. I started dating them, and then I got
related.
I got a job in the same company as them, so I had to run into them once in a while. It was difficult, especially the first few months, but I would advise don't do it. And my last point I'd say is, if you're a closure person, I know there are some people who say I'm not a closure person, so the disrespect was the closure, but if you're a closure person like me, after you get over all these emotions, seek closure, because that way for me, closure is just closure, and it's not even with just like boys that I dated, even like ladies that we were in friendships with, and we get to a point, I always seek closure. Why? Because when it's in the heat of the moment, for example, most of the breakups happen in the heat of the moment, especially so when one person doesn't want it to happen, and then the other person doesn't care. So it happens, and you have so many emotions, like what you were saying, you think you have good memories with them, you have all these things going on. And I think for me, when I got past, like, I'd say it was like 3-4 months down the line, and I was sober fresh, I texted the guy and I was like, hey, can we meet? And I want closure because the breakup was very blah, blah, blah. So we sat down, and what closure did to me, definitely go to a public space for closure, because you can also raise some unnecessary feelings that are not supposed to be there. But what closure did to me was, at that point, all these emotions, lovey-dovey things were gone, and my mind was clear, and I was able to see it for what it was. And most of the times when you see closure, even if that person come back and they're trying to get you back, most of the times you're going to be like no, because you're able to see through what you know, like see how you say like independent people are able to see things in a relationship that the two people can see. I think that's what closure does to you, because you're
it's
like
important to have this environment where you can't like rebound and go back to your like, oh my god, I love him moment. So yeah, that's a good point. So okay.
So yeah, I think guys, we have come to the end of this video, and also it's getting dark, so I hope you enjoyed watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to our channel, and also be sure to check me out on Instagram, like this video, share it with someone that needs it, and until next time, you guys have a good one. Bye.